We're live on Facebook.
I love it. All right. We are live on Facebook, right, Robert?
That is correct, my man. We're live on Zoom as well.
Perfect. All right. I'm going to wait a couple minutes, let people get settled in, or a couple seconds, let people get settled in. And while we're doing that, I'll go ahead and introduce why I'm here instead of that good looking man named Dave Savage. So I think Dave needed a breather today. And so he asked me to, I think he called it a Tuesday Takeover. I don't know. Maybe he's going to start doing this more often, which I don't think is a bad idea because there's so many other great people that I'd be interested in just listening to them for 20 or 30 minutes on a topic that they're super passionate about. And today, that's why Dave had me come in and talk today. I get to share. We're getting some comments, Robert. Harold saying no video. Is that a user error or is that a mortgage coach error?
I think that would definitely be a user error. We do have video going live on Zoom. Everything is a go.
Yeah, I just double checked. So we're good. Thanks, Mike Gallagher. So we are good. We're good on video. We're good on audio. But getting back to what I was saying, this is a topic that I am very, very passionate about. And I'm going to give a real quick intro. Obviously, I'm a mortgage professional, but what I do kind of off the field, for the past 2 years, I've been an affiliate professor at the University of Washington in their real estate department. And I guess you would say business department, because the class that I teach, Real Estate 361, is titled Real Estate Law, but it is a prerequisite for their real estate degree. They have a 4-year degree and they have a master's degree at the University of Washington in real estate. And then they have, it's an elective for business majors. And so I have about 55 students. And what I found, and I don't just teach out of a textbook. I think that's why they brought me in to teach, that I have real life practical experience. And at the age of 45, being a former college student and college athlete and young adult, young professional, there are some things that I definitely wish I would have learned when I was in my early 20s. And so what I do is I basically poll my students and ask questions. And when I'm done with the lesson plan, over the last couple of years, I've asked them, what of the topic around real estate and finance, what is most interesting to you? And what kept coming up is investing. What kept coming up a lot is how to make money, how to generate wealth. And obviously I would share my journey and my testimony to inspire these young kids that there's a lot of myths out there around money. One of the myths is that you inherit your money from your family. And that's one of the ways, but that's not I read a stat the other day that over 80% of all millionaires out there today were self-made. They did not inherit money. And I want to say it's closer to 90 in the 80s. And so inspiring these young kids how to better understand money, because we'll get into this today. Compounded interest loves time. Remember that. And this is what I teach to my clients. I'm up here in the Seattle market and have a lot of first-time home buyers that make pretty good money. They're tech workers. They're making over $100,000 a year. They're getting a sign-on bonus, or they have $40,000 to $80,000 sometimes in their bank accounts. And how they use that money at an earlier age can really change their total cash net worth at the age of 40, at the age of 50. And so because compounded interest loves time so much, it's become passion of mine to teach that to youngsters. I'm teaching it to my kids right now. My dad, for example, this is kind of how most of us are taught. My dad, my kid's grandfather, for their birthdays and Christmas, always puts $100 in a bank account, a little savings account for them. And bless his heart, he thinks he's doing them a favor. Well, in 20 or 30 years, or excuse me, 20 years, they're going to have about $200 a year times 20 years to do the math on that. And that money is not going to make any money. That money is not going to grow unless he puts money in. And so what I've already started teaching my kids is to set up an E-Trade account and put your money into an E-Trade account, attach it to an index fund like the S&P 500, and get a 7 to 10 to 15 to 20% return on that money every single year. And then you compound that starting at the age of 12 and 13 and 15 and 18, and you don't touch it and you let that ride. And then you're teaching your kids healthy investment habits. You're teaching your kids basically how money works. And so that's my motivation today is as mortgage professionals. I think it's so important, whether you're talking with a first-time homebuyer or Wally Aileyberry has a great program and a lot of mortgage professionals do, for annual reviews. So whether you're meeting with a client and doing their annual mortgage review, or you're meeting with a 26-year-old first-time homebuyer, a lot of the information I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to share just straight out of my business, the conversations that I have and the documents that I have and the budgeting classes that I teach every single month, are so valuable, because some of the stats that I'm going to share with you in a minute are astonishing, and our clients are a part of those statistics. And it's just, it's horrible to see how many Americans just do not understand money. They're living paycheck to paycheck. They're not saving for their retirement. They're not thinking 20 years or 30 years down the road. And so really, when it comes to being a mortgage professional in 2020 and beyond, my number one job, I've said this in interviews with Dave Savage before, my number one job as a mortgage professional is to bring about financial awareness and financial confidence. So that's my why. In my business, people are like, what do you do? I love helping people. No, my job, I do love helping people. And I love helping first-time homebuyers and seeing the joy on their face getting their first house. And I love helping people like last year save a ton of money on their mortgage. I really love it when I get to see my clients, a light bulb go off in my client's head after a conversation we have, or documents that I give them that brings about financial awareness. And then they say, please introduce me to that financial planner you were talking about. Would you please set up a time where we can meet with your financial planner? And so hopefully today you'll get a lot out of this relative to where you're currently at in your financial lives. We're blessed in the mortgage industry to have the potential to earn a lot of money. And so we can cut down that savings curve, that investment curve if needed. But we have an obligation as mortgage professionals when we see our clients' tax returns and their pay stubs and their bank statements and their 401k statements and their investment accounts or lack thereof. And we can see from their pay stubs what they're contributing or not contributing to their 401k. We have an obligation not to tell them, not to give them financial advice unless you're licensed. I am not. So a disclaimer, I'm going to talk about money and investing and certain things today. Disclaimer, I am not giving any financial advice. And I say this to my clients. My job is to bring about awareness, period. Things that I've learned at 45, things that I do professionally. And I do share a little bit of my journey with my clients that 6 years ago in 2015, I was 1 month behind on my truck payment and I was over $90,000 in debt 6 years ago. And what I've been able to do in the last 6 years, let's put earning potential aside. I became passionate about money. I had an awakening in 2015 that the buck stops here. I'm going to stop living outside of my means. We're going to trim everything. I'm going to start paying attention to every dollar I earn and every dollar I spend. We're going to talk about this in a minute, how important budgeting is. And just simply because of that practice, 2 years later, completely debt-free, with the exception of a mortgage. And by the way, in 2015, had no money. Obviously, I was over $80,000 in debt, had no money in savings, and I had zero in the 401k or in investment accounts, zero. You fast forward 6 years, and my wife and I are debt-free. We have two homes that we own, both have mortgages on them, and we have plenty of money in retirement that's working with our financial planner right now. And I'm going to share the exact plan that I've used to keep me on track, to keep me disciplined. But the discipline starts from within. You've got to want it. You've got to understand that you are in control of your money. You can tame money. What most Americans do is they let money control them. And one of my mentors told me this a long time ago, money isn't emotional. Money doesn't care if you get up in the morning at 6 a.m., at 7 a.m., at 3 a.m., at 5. Money does not care. Money is not emotional. We make money emotional as humans. And so if you can pull the emotion out of money, understand how money works, and understand what you need to do to make your money work, you're going to be well on track to living financially free. So what I'm going to do today is I want to teach you about the money game. And I'm going to talk to you as mortgage professionals, just like I talk to my clients. So you can take pieces of this and maybe share it with your clients. I'm also going to share with you the forms that I give to all of my clients. I'm also going to share with you the webpage that I send all of my clients to sign up for a budgeting class. It's a budgeting/investment class that I teach every other month. And because of COVID, now it's every 6 weeks, but we do it via Zoom. And so before that, I would host it at a restaurant, rent out their banquet room and have some nice appetizers and wine and go from there. So I want to start off by asking all of you this, and this is exactly what I do with my clients, but as mortgage professionals, this is an important question that I want to see if you can answer this and answer this honestly. Do you know last month, we're in June of 2021. So in May of 2021, last month, do you know exactly what percentage of your net income, your deposited money that you put into your bank account, what percent of your net income that you saved? Do you know which percentage of your net income from last month that you saved? Are you tracking your numbers that well? So on Instagram, if you follow me on Instagram, it's just Dan Keller, MTG. I talk a lot about money. I talk about a lot about just money tips and budgeting tips. And I've shared this formula before. It's the 50-30-20 rule. 50% should go to living. And I'm going to break this down for you here in a second. And don't necessarily hop over to Instagram or anything right now. Stay here and listen to this. 50% needs to go to survival. Those are your needs. It's your food, your cars, your auto payments, your bills. 30% should be saved and invested. And then 20% should be your wants, your toys, your lifestyle, travel. 50-30-20. Now that's a goal. That's a goal. What I tell all of my clients starting out is I'd like to see you at least save 20 cents on every dollar. 20 cents on every dollar. So if you can start there, because a lot of people aren't, but more so, most importantly, can you answer that question? And I would say that over 9 out of 10 of my clients, they're like, no, I think we saved like $1,200. No. I don't want a number. I want a percentage. Because when you track that percentage and you understand where you're at, 20%, 30%, or 40%, I'm going to get to this in a second. It's so powerful when you see the paradigm shift. Okay. So I used to be, when I first started 5 or 6 years ago, I was like, I just need to save 20% of my money. And when I started saving 20% of my money, I was like, yes. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to bump that to 30. I just need to save 30% of my money. And I got there. Obviously, when you start paying down debt and you start living well below your means, that number goes up. And then obviously, as you increase your earnings. Last month, I know my number, 84.7% was my savings, my net income to savings last month, 84.7%. So you'll get to a point if you're living well below your means, and we are today. And this is one of the things that I think is a big part of understanding how money works, is being able to delay gratifications, delay buying the big things, delay doing the big things. I'm not there yet. I have a number, and when I hit that number, I'll slowly start easing into enjoying more of what our money can buy for us. But 84.7% last month. My goal when I started 6 years ago was 20%. So you can see how that has changed over the last 5 or 6 years. So I want to encourage you as mortgage professionals, understand that number. I'm going to give you the form that I use. It's a personal family budget form that I use every single month. I fill it out, and it'll calculate the income versus basically what you brought in, what you deposited, what you spent, and it'll calculate the savings percentage for you. So what I want to do now is I have an outline here, and I want to start with kind of giving you an idea of what your customers, what their mindset is around money, and kind of where they're at as they come to us as mortgage professionals, as they're preparing to purchase a home and make one of the largest financial decisions of their lives. Some stats: 80% of Americans right now are in debt. Over 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. That's ugly. 69% of Americans have less than $1,000 in savings. Think about that. That's 7 out of 10 Americans have less than $1,000. That's not even enough to cover an accident, a washer and dryer going out. What do you do when you have $1,000 or less in the bank and your hot water heater goes out? You put it on credit. They charge you 19% on that $2,000 or $1,500 hot water heater debt. 55% of Americans aged 45, this is me, 55% of Americans aged 45 to 50 years of age have no savings, no savings. They're 10, 15 years, 20 years-ish from retirement, and they have no savings. This is my age bracket. This is scary to think that over half of the United States of America, my age, has no savings for retirement. 22% of Americans have less than $5,000 set aside for retirement. $5,000 is not going to get you anywhere relative to retiring. 75% of Americans, this is the sad one, 75% of Americans fear that they're not saving enough for retirement and actually lose sleep over it. That's called stress, and that's not good. That's not healthy. We all know that's not healthy. And this is the kicker, and this is the part that really gets me kind of fired up. In 2020 and 2019, banks on average charged over $5 billion each year in overdraft fees. $5 billion a year in overdraft fees. Banks in the United States of America. What that tells us as mortgage professionals is that our clients don't know how to budget. And it's up to us to help them with that. So what I'm going to go over with you today, what I want to share with you today is how I present this to my clients. And I'm going to screen share in a second and show you what I send them. But before, when I'm having the initial mortgage planning call with a client, the initial pre-approval call, I let them know that, and you can swipe this, and I don't know if there's much merit around this other than the fact that I'm kind of in this space. And this is how I feel about myself. But I let them know that over the last 15 years, I've become one of the top influencers, financial influencers in the mortgage space. And what that means is I write a blog and I create content on social media, mainly for my clients and for my followers. And I want to encourage you to follow me on both of those channels, which is Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. And so when I tell my clients this is kind of me opening up the door, maybe kind of taking the focus off of the mortgage aspect real quick and be like, all right, hey, this guy actually cares about my money. This guy actually cares about helping me save more money. There's a mentor of mine, and I've no problem mentioning his name in the Mortgage Coach group because there's so many people that are connected to this guy, but Rick Ruby, 6 years ago, taught me how to manage money. He taught me the importance of money. He taught me how money worked. He taught me how to make more money. And I'm forever indebted to him because of what he's done for me. He literally has changed my family tree. I wouldn't be teaching my kids this had I not met Rick at that particular time and seen his passion for it and me being attracted to that. And so changed my life financially, but now I'm teaching this to my 12 and 15-year-old kids and to college students at the University of Washington and young first-time homebuyers. And it really is making a difference financially in people's lives. And so when you give, and I'm coming full circle on this, so pay attention as mortgage professionals, when you give financial advice like I give and like we should all be giving to our clients, and it helps change their lives financially, they don't just thank you because you closed their loan on time. They thank you because you changed their life. If you could show them, this is what I get all the time. I'm going to tell you what to expect as mortgage professionals. Yeah, I've always wanted to invest. I've got friends that are day traders or friends that invest and they seem to be well off and they seem to be doing well. I've always wanted to do it. I just didn't know what to do. And I heard financial planners they're just expensive and they take a bunch of money. The myth out there is that you don't need a financial planner. I'm going to show you, and that's my response when my clients say that. And because of that, I've drafted an email for you that in that email shows you how to set up a free E-Trade account, how to put money in that E-Trade account, and then how to invest money through E-Trade. You don't need a financial planner. You can, like I said earlier, you can attach your money to an index fund and make a great return on that money with very little risk. And I think E-Trade charges like $4 a trade. Well, all I do, I dollar cost average every single month. So where I'm at financially, and I tell my clients this, at 45 years of age and the amount of money that I have right now under management, I have a financial planner manage that. It's too much. I don't want to screw up on it. But even if I just put it in the S&P 500, it would do pretty well. I want my financial planner obviously to beat that. That's why I'm paying him. But until you get a certain amount of money, you can do this on your own. And the number one thing I get from that, my clients are like, oh my God, thank you so much. This was so easy. I get texts and emails from clients saying, hey, I just put $5,000 in my E-Trade account and I attach it to the S&P 500 in it. That makes me happy. That when people ask me what my why is, getting text messages and emails like that really get me jacked up, because we go from closing on time, having a great mortgage experience, which is our number one, that's our job, and that's our number one focus and our number one goal in my office. But my purpose is to help change the lives of my clients financially and bring about that awareness. And so when they do make that move, or they go set up a meeting with my financial planner, and they're like, wow, this was an amazing meeting. Thank you so much for that introduction. We're going to start working with Matt, or we're going to start working with Brendan. This is amazing. Thank you, Dan. That's truly where, again, I know how I feel toward Rick. That's how they feel toward me. And then when I call them and I do an annual review, or I call them to do a checkup and ask how things are going, and they're like, Jesus was amazing. The experience was amazing. And thank you so much for your advice and information. That's a referral moment. That's a referral opportunity. I simply just ask for it. Hey, well, do me a favor. Please don't keep us a secret. As you come across friends and family members that are looking to purchase, or if they want more information like I gave you, I'd love an introduction. And so this is how I use the game of money. This is how I use financial awareness to not only build my business, but to create those raving fans that you hear great mortgage people talking about all the time. This is that additional wow factor that Dave talks about a lot. And so I think understanding how to frame this with your clients. I tee it up front, and I'm one of the top financial influencers in the mortgage space because of the content that I create, because of how long I've had my blog. And I don't care if all of you guys swipe that. I think it's a great dialogue to take the focus real quickly off of mortgage, open up that door that, hey, I am going to give you some financial advice that's going to help you in due time. Now, in order for me to do that, it's a part of the pre-approval process. So I may see some things as I pre-approve you that might be able to help you out financially. And then I have a series of questions. At the end, one of the top questions that I ask on that initial phone call, when I ask if they're renting or if they currently own a home, first-time home buyers are renting, say, okay, you're renting for $2,500 a month. Let me ask you a quick question. Right now, as you pay rent at $2,500 a month, at the end of every month, how much money do you have left over? And they'll say, oh, it's $2,000 or $3,000, whatever it might be. And I say, I haven't seen your pay stubs yet, but is that after you're maxing out your 401k and your IRA opportunities? Some of them will say, no, I haven't really set that up, or well, I'm only contributing X. And that's another opportunity for me to say, okay, this is great. And I'm taking notes, but this is another opportunity for me to say, okay, great. You're going to get some stuff from me that is going to show you how you're leaving hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table if you're not leveraging maybe an employer contribution towards your 401k, if you're not leveraging this tax deferred investment opportunity. So I ask those questions up front because it gives me a better idea of where my clients are financially and what I can do to better help them relative to bringing about more financial awareness. And then when I have a chance to have that mortgage planning call, that's after they're fully pre-approved, that's where I tee up the financial awareness annual test. That's where I tee up, go to budgetwithdan.com. Once we close your home loan, every other month or every 6 weeks, I host a budgeting class, and this will help you out tremendously. I highly encourage you to go there. And what I want to challenge you to do, and this is what I always say, what I want to challenge you to do is when you have some downtime this weekend, I want you to go there and I want you to take my financial awareness test. It's a really simple test. And if you do it with your partner, if you do it with your spouse, It's awesome. I know you'll have a good time doing it, but it'll bring about awareness. It'll bring about awareness to where you're at currently financially. And then there's that where are you now portion of it that will actually give you a number and let you know if you're behind or if you're ahead of the game. And that always piques their interest. That always gets them fired up. So I want to also mention this. This is so important. I like to ask questions. In fact, if we hung out, any of you guys, and we ever hung out, I would probably do most of the talking in regards to just asking you questions. I'm just genuinely curious when I meet people about their lives. And I'm super infatuated with older people and what they've done, what they've learned, what they wish they would have done better. And I can tell you that anytime I talk to someone that's older than me, whether they're financially successful, or maybe not necessarily financially successful, but just a good human being, I always ask them relative to money, relative to their job, relative to investing, what they learned and what they may have done differently. And I wrote down 4 things right now that I want to share with you. That is, these are common answers from both parties. 1, they wish they would have started investing sooner. Number 2, they wish they would have learned to budget sooner. Number 3, they wish they would have invested more. And number 4, and this is hilarious, they wish they would have bought more real estate or assets. Okay. Reason why I brought up this information, look at this. Wish they would have invested more, wish they would have bought more real estate, wish they would have learned how to budget. Well, we can't really help them with investing, but we can introduce them to a financial planner, but we can help them budget. We can help them buy more real estate. 2 out of those 4. You have to understand that our clients, I just shared with you a bunch of statistics that our clients fall under. You have to also understand that of these elderly, I don't want to say elderly, but older people with wisdom, they've lived their lives. They've lived most of their lives. The 4 regrets or things they wish they would have done differently, 2 out of the 4 we can control. These are our clients, people. This is so important that we are teaching financial awareness and budgeting and financial confidence. Some people call it financial literacy. I call it financial confidence and financial awareness to our clients. After hearing all of this and giving you guys the stats that I just gave you, we have a financial literacy crisis in America. And it is my opinion that as mortgage professionals and real estate agents, we are the lowest common denominator to helping America get back on track relative to their finances. Think about this. We're meeting people that want to make the largest financial decisions of their lives, that want a piece of the American dream. We're meeting all of these people, these first-time home buyers, millions of people that buy homes each year, millions of people that own homes. And I believe it's our duty, it's our obligation to at least, we don't need to be financial planners. We don't need to give investment advice. We need to bring about awareness. And that's the one thing I want y'all to get from me today. One of the things that I teach every single one of my clients, I ask them if they've read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. My clients, most of them are buying real estate or they own real estate, right? Same thing with you. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad has a little to do with real estate. It's one of the best investment books that I have ever read. In fact, I did a short video on it the other day on my Instagram. It was like the 7 top takeaways from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I share this in a separate video with my clients. And I just say that, hey, as we're budgeting to purchase real estate, one of my favorite investment books, real estate is one of the largest financial decisions of your lives. If you talk to people near the end of their lives, most of their net worth came through real estate. I want to share with you 7 big takeaways from the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And then these takeaways have absolutely changed my life. And so number 1, learn to listen. Learn to listen to others. Learn to listen to the markets. Learn to listen to what your money is doing or isn't doing. Number 2, pay yourself first. Every single month, pay yourself first. Give your money, Dave Ramsey calls it, give your money a job. So if I know that I need to save and invest 30%, I'm going to pay those investment accounts first. Number 3, reduce your expenses. That's the first thing that I did back in 2015. I was like, all right, it's ugly. Here's my debt. How do I get rid of it? And I literally took I got really serious about my mortgage business. Number 2, I prospected like a freak. I went into content creation mode. I went into prospecting mode and literally doubled my volume from 2014 to 2015. That obviously helped, made a little bit of money that helped me get out of a massive, ugly financial situation. So number 3, reduce your expenses, because once you reduce those expenses, now all that money can go into compounded interest. It can go into growth mode. Number 4, work to learn, don't work for money. Work to learn, don't work for money. When I was a college baseball coach, I got paid pennies on the dollar. I went broke as a college baseball coach, but I worked my butt off. Like I was getting paid $500,000 a year at the time to coach college baseball. I learned, I worked to learn. I learned what not to do, what to do, what great coaches did, what other coaches did bad. Work to learn, don't work for money. Number 5, you become what you study, so read. Every single one of those books behind me I've read. I don't just read books anymore. The good ones, I study. You become what you study, so read. Number 6, reinvest all excess cash. Reinvest all excess cash. I send every single month, I send a set amount of money every single month to my financial planner. Anything that's left over, I take. So what I try to do is I like to see, and I'm going to share this with you in a minute. I like to see if I can compare or beat my financial planner. So in my E-Trade account, I have about 7 funds that I have, and I try to see if my returns can beat Matt's. I've only done it like once or twice. It's really hard. He's really good. But I'll take about $5,000 to $10,000 every single month extra and put it into my E-Trade account and put it into, again, I just dollar cost average about 7 different accounts, and that's it. Lately, I'm not going to, full disclosure, I have been taking some of that money and putting it into crypto with some advice from some helpful people. So again, I'm not giving any financial advice. It's just what I'm doing personally. So number 6, reinvest all excess cash. Number 7, surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. That's been my key. That's been my key to success, both financially and in business, is I surround myself with a lot of people in this mortgage coach community. I surround myself with the coaches. I'm involved in the core training with coaches that do a lot more volume than me. I surround myself with people outside of our industry that have better marriages than me, that are great fathers. Like Dave Savage is a mentor of mine relative to just being a dad. He's a great husband. He's a great dad. And so, my pastor, for example, spiritually, I'm surrounding myself with people that are better than me in those areas. So surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. All right, let's get into some of these forms. I think we are at 9:30. Before I go into phase part 2, which is about 15 more minutes, Robert, do we have any questions that I need to get to real quick? Elizabeth wants to know if I'm buying gold and silver. No. Is the E-Trade information on the website? No. Denise, I give that in an email, and I have no problem just copying and pasting in the email and putting it in the comments when I get off the call. John, 30%, attaboy. Good work. That's perfect. When you're paying ourselves first, do we increase our savings to reach our savings goals or pay ourselves less to pay off debt? So Israel, if you have debt, you're paying, yes, you're paying. I'd like to see you pay off your debt first, because especially if the interest rate on that is high. So you're paying off your debt, get debt free, and then put all of that into savings and investing. Okay, great questions. I got one more. Do you ever have clients who are in a hurry to qualify and want the highest purchase price possible with little concern of their financial status? If so, how do you approach those clients? Absolutely. So I do. And in that particular case, listen, at the end of the day, my number one job as a mortgage professional, they come to me to get pre-approved and to get a great deal on their rate and their fees, period. That's what the consumer thinks. So yes, we'll turn around a same day pre-approval, but I will ask my team, or I will log in and I will look at their financials. And if there's some things, it's just like, I use this analogy. Deborah, let's say, for example, you're just not feeling good, scratching your throat. It's gotten worse and worse and worse over time. You went to WebMD, and everything that you're reading on WebMD is like 100% you have strep throat. You know you have strep throat. So you go to a doctor. You make the appointment with the doctor, you go to the doctor, you walk into the doctor's office and you say, there's no need to run an analysis or anything. I have strep throat. I just need the antibiotics and I'll be on my way. Well, and there's not a doctor out there that I know of that'll say, okay, Deborah, here's your prescription down the street at Walgreens. You can fill that. I hope you feel better in a couple of days. The nurse and the doctor are going to take your vitals. They're going to ask some questions. They're going to look up your nose and your ears and your eyes and your mouth, probably listen to your heart, listen to your lungs. There's a saying that I heard a long time ago that it goes a little something like this: prescription before diagnosis is malpractice. Okay. Now, that scenario that you just said, are there some people that just want to come in and get a real quick pre-approval? Absolutely. That's just what they know or what they think that they want, and we'll do that for them. But nobody gets by me without a mortgage planning meeting. And so during that mortgage planning call, after we pre-approve them, and whether they made an offer on a house or they got their offer accepted on a house or they're out shopping, on that mortgage planning call, I'm going to encourage them, like I do everyone, to go to budgetwithdan.com. And I want to encourage you. I do this at 45. I do this twice a year. So it's that important. And I'm that passionate about it. I want to encourage you to go to budgetwithdan.com, and I want you to take the financial awareness annual test. And I want to see how you score. I don't need the results. The whole idea is that it brings about awareness to you. And if you want to talk about it, I'd love to have a conversation with you about it. Once we close on your home loan, every 6 weeks, I host a little wine and wisdom or a lunch and learn for all of my clients. Right now, they're all Zoom. You'll get an invite. You're more than welcome to attend. Oftentimes, I have my financial planner present so we can have some financial dialogue, but we go over how to turn some of those no's on that financial awareness test into yeses. So that's how I handle the person that just wants to come in for a quick pre-approval. Because that's all they know. And at that point, that's all they want, but they don't know what they really know what they need. Okay. So that's how I handle that. All right. Good. Great questions though. That's a really great question, Deborah. All right. So before I get into the final part where I talk about the documents and the 6 steps to financial freedom, I tell all my clients this too, and I'm teaching young adults this. It's so important that you understand how to earn money. It's so important that you understand how to earn money. My office manager here at my office, over the last 3 years, financially, before I met her, she fell on some rough times. She's been with me for almost over 4 years now. And she hears me talking about this stuff all the time, budgeting with Dan. Well, about, I want to say a couple of years ago, she asked me to borrow money. And first off, I pay her very, 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 very well to be an office manager / Dan Keller's personal assistant. Very well, top tier. And so part of me is like, dude, I know the kind of money that I'm paying you. You're living outside of your means. You need to tone things down financially. So I just had an off the cuff conversation with her about that. Here's some money until payday, but we need to do an evaluation of what you're spending every single month, because I think you're living outside of your means. It took about 1.5 years for her to figure this out. During COVID, and these are goosebump moments for me, because my clients have moments like this, and this one's personal because she's worked with us and she's worked with me for so long. During COVID, I told her, I said, listen, no more asking for money. Like, we're done with this. I'm going to help you right now. You're paying too much in rent. You're paying $1,800 a month in rent. You need to drop that down to 13 or 14. And I'm telling you what you need to do. And I said, you need to cut your expenses. Instead of getting your nails done every 4 weeks, get them done every 12 weeks. I don't care. You need to start cutting your expenses. Cut where you can. And I said, one other thing. What are you good at? She's cleaned a couple of houses for our clients and I've paid her money. She's a clean freak. Hence she's the office manager here. So I said, hey, you're great at cleaning. Why don't you start a side business where you clean $300 or $400, or $300 a house, or whatever cleaners charge. And I said, what else are you good at? She was like, well, I was a bartender. I go, I know you were. So what about going and getting a part-time bartending job where you work Saturday nights or Sunday nights? It just so happened about a week later, I'm on Instagram and I come across someone that I follow, and he has this meme. It's the millionaire bartender. So I screenshot it and I send it to her. She's making twice as much money as she was making with me. She's still working for me. She's debt-free now, plenty of money in savings. She moved out of her townhouse and rented a house for $1,200 or $1,300 a month. She's listened to everything that I've said, and she's in a much better financial position right now because I taught her the importance of earning. You got to learn how to earn. That will change your life. If you're not happy where you're at with your normal job, with your day-to-day job, learn how to earn. What are you good at? Start a side job or a side hustle, or learn how to work a second job or something that you may be more passionate about. But that's a great real life example. And it's just one that I'm so proud of because she's listened to everything that I've said and it works. It works. Now we get to start investing a lot of that money and it's going to change her life. All right, so let's jump into the 6 steps to financial freedom and we'll get out of here. Number 1, 6 steps to financial freedom. It's on my website. This is what I teach. Number 1, you have to track everything. We track everything using this form, and this form is on that website. This is the budget, personal family budget form. This is also that form down here that will show you your savings percentage each and every month. Budgetwithdan.com. You can get everything there. Step number 2, be consumer debt free. This is being debt free with the exception of your mortgage. So number 2, be consumer debt free. Number 3, build a survival account. So on this personal family budget form, column number 1, you're going to list all your monthly expenses. Column number 2, you're going to put in what you actually pay, the minimum monthly payment on those expenses. You're going to add up that column. Let's say it adds up to $6,000. You're going to times that by 3. That's your survival account. That's your rainy day fund, they call it. So that's $18,000. So step number 3, you want to build a survival account. That's 3 times your monthly expenses. Number 4, you want to maximize your retirement accounts. Number 4, you're going to maximize your 401k, IRA, or if you're a real estate agent, your SEP accounts. Okay. Number 5, invest in the market. This is where E-Trade, Vanguard, Fidelity, just to name a few. Most of these are very low fee investment accounts. And again, just hitch up. So for example, I wrote this down and I'll put this in the comments. For example, in your Vanguard account, you can do the VTSAX account. That's the total stock market account. You can throw all your money into that and it averages it out against the total stock market. You can do the VFIAX, which is the Vanguard S&P 500 account. These are index funds that you can invest in. This is one that I'm starting to pay more attention to with my financial planner. And this is what I tell my clients too. I pay my financial planner a lot of money to manage my money. I can take the advice that he is giving me, strategic advice that he gives me, and hand off some of that advice to them. So it goes back to the bigger pile theory. If my pile's bigger than yours, I'd maybe pay attention to me. If my mentor, which my mentor's pile is much bigger than mine, I'm kind of paying attention to what he or she is doing with their money. But this VTIAX account, this is the total international account or fund. That's a big one right now. But these are the accounts that you can just dollar cost, you can put money in every single month and don't even pay attention to it. Put it in there and just let it ride until you are ready for a financial planner. Step number 6 is where you finally prepay your mortgage. And so a lot of my clients ask me, Dan, I want to pay an extra $500 a month to my mortgage. I want to pay an extra $1,000 a month to pay off my mortgage. Dan, I just got a bonus of $100,000 and I want to pay it toward my mortgage. I always ask them, before you do this, go watch my video on my 6 steps to financial freedom. And I want you to review the worksheet. And I want you to take the financial awareness annual test, because that information can help solve a lot of problems or answer a lot of questions for you if that is the best use of your money. And so my philosophy, and this is what I've been taught, and this is what I'm personally doing. My philosophy is that you do not prepay your mortgage until you're of the age of 55 or older, and you have a minimum of $2 million in the bank in investment accounts or greater. That's the program that I'm sticking to, because right now I'm paying my mortgage. I'm not paying any additional. Any additional is going into investment accounts. So I have multiple accounts working for me. That is step number 6, prepaying your mortgage. So let me recap. Number 1, step 1, track everything using the personal family budget form each and every month. Step number 2, be consumer debt free. Step number 3, build a survival account. That's 3 times your monthly expenses. Step number 4, maximize your retirement accounts, your 401ks, your IRAs. Step number 5, invest in the stock market. You don't need a financial planner to do that. Step number 6, prepay your mortgage once you've reached the age of 55 or greater, and you have at least $2 million in the bank. All right, as I close, I'm going to close with, give this form. I teach these forms to my clients. This is the Money Escalator form. And this is just really simple. What this shows, and I'll put this in the comments, this is just a PDF, but it shows you if you saved $1,000 a month, $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, or $20,000 a month. If you saved, let's just say, for example, $10,000 a month, $10,000 a month is $120,000 a year. Over 20 years, that's $2.4 million just saved. If you put it into an investment account that yielded 7%, that's like the 30-year average. Over the last 6 or 7 years, I've gotten way more than 7% out of any investment account that I've invested in. But let's just say you got 7% return on that money. Over 20 years, it's $5.4 million. Over 10 years, it's $2 million. That's saving $10,000 a month, saving and investing $10,000 a month. So this is a great worksheet just to give to your clients. I also, here's the app that I use, excuse me, the calculator that I use. I think this one's one of the better ones. It's called smartasset.com. It's just an investment calculator, smartasset.com. Smartasset.com, and you can put in X number of dollars, how much money you want to invest every single month or annually, and then a rate of return, and it tells you how much money you'll have at the end of that time period. I like that calculator. I give it out to my clients to help them. So I teach the Money Escalator form. This is another form that I will put in our comments, and this is that I got this one from my mentor, and this shows me when I teach my clients and they don't have a financial planner. This shows your clients how to invest and build an investment portfolio on their own. And so I love the information here. It tells you when to buy, when to sell, how to be tactical. Basically what there's a pyramid with 3 rows, what each one of those rows consists of, and examples of stocks or companies that you plug into each one of those rows. And then you just, every single month, you pour money into that. It's E-Trade, Vanguard, whatever account you have, and watch it grow. One of the biggest joys so far is when I show my daughter our E-Trade account, how it's grown from like $1,200 to well over $7,000. So it's something that's just you're gonna get a kick out of it too with your clients. I'm not going to go over these, but I'm going to go over the outline of these 3 forms, and then we'll wrap up. My financial awareness test. This you can find. It's in a packet. Budgetwithdan.com. You don't even need to put your name in. You can just download it. The financial awareness test is 15 questions, and it gives you kind of a scoring of where you're at. The biggest thing that I want my clients to take away from this financial awareness test is try to convert a no to a yes. 1 no to a yes every 6 months. 1 no to a yes every 6 months until you have a majority or all yeses. And then down at the bottom, it says it's the where are you now wealth test. And so there's a formula where you multiply your age by your income, divide by 10, blah, blah, blah. And then it gives you a number and it lets you know if you're on track for retirement or not. All right. So I would encourage you as mortgage professionals to take it, but I would also encourage you to swipe and adapt some of this stuff and have your clients do the same. And then the third and final form is, or test is, how much money do I need to retire? I love this one. How much money do I need to retire? And this is one where you just sit down. You sit down with a pen and a pad and you start plugging numbers in, and your clients will know, you will know. I encourage you to do it first, but you'll know how much money you need to live on if you're debt free and you're mortgage free. Because remember, when you're retired, you're mortgage debt free, ideally. So how much money do you need to live on? You pick that number. This worksheet helps you kind of better understand what that number looks like based off of your current earnings. But this is an incredible form that brings about a lot of awareness. It'll bring about a lot of conviction too. So I hope this information was helpful. At the very end of that packet, you'll see my personal family budget form. You can print that off. I want to give some credit to some of the stuff that I shared today is from the core training. It's not necessarily mine. It's stuff that I've learned from the core. So some of these forms that I have shared, you'll see are copywritten by the core. The financial awareness annual test, I adopted a little from the core. I added a few things to it. The where are you now wealth test and the how much money do I need to retire? I found that on the internet and kind of just made it my own. The money escalator, same thing, came from the course. So just giving credit where credit is due there. But if you guys have any questions, reach out to me. I'd encourage you to follow me on Instagram for sure. That's where I share a lot of helpful information relative to just budgeting and just entry level, young adult, young professional financial advice. And then on YouTube and Facebook, if you feel the need, friend me up over on Facebook, and I'd love to be friends with you. So before I take off, though, I want to jump in here on the chat. Karen wants to know what my financial website is. It's just my budgeting. I call it budgetingwithdan.com. My main website is mymortgageguidedan.com, but the financial website I'm talking about right now is budgetwithdan.com. Thanks, Karen. Thanks, Robert, for that. Robert, I think we're good, man. I'm 8 minutes early. So if there's a handful of questions, but I think we already got to them. I think this is pretty much it. So you can comment if you're watching this after the recording. I'll do my best. You can tag me in the comments, but if you have any questions, I'm happy to jump in and answer any questions. You can private message me or reach out to me. But I highly encourage you as mortgage professionals. And I'm going to close with this. This is so important. This is so important. I encourage you as mortgage professionals to do what you can to bring financial awareness to your clients. And remember this, when the customer comes first, the customer will come back. But when you put them first and their financial needs first, they will come back. It's more than just closing on time. It's more than just getting a good rate. It's more than just communication. When they feel like they came first, they will come back and they'll bring others with them. Okay. Be well, you guys. Thanks for taking time to join me and to be with me this morning. Let's all wish Dave a happy day off. Robert, great job moderating the call, and we'll see you online.
Thank you, my man. Take care.